Hey everyone, welcome back to Hospitality and Tech with Ed, the series where I speak with the founders, builders, and innovators reshaping the future of travel and accommodation. And today I'm joined by Mirjam Neuenschwander. She's the co-founder and chief growth officer at Wandery, which is a tech-driven micro-hostel concept redefining how solo travelers experience nature escapes. So let's dive in. So, Miriam, we know each other quite well because I guess we're co-founders of Wandery. It's nice to have you with us. My first question for you is, how did Wandery start and where did the idea come from?
Yes, I think we know each other very well, so I'm happy to answer that question right away. I think we were both working for NUMA during that time, and we worked very well together, also with our other co-founder, Misha. And I think we really fell in love with the concept. Um, and all of us wanted to become independent. At one point, we wanted to grow our own business. We wanted to see if we can make it as well, right? And I think we have seen the trends in hospitality that we are shifting from reception to no reception, and we were kind of looking on, where is that not available yet? And the hostel space is just not very digital. Yes, you have a few capsule hostels who do that for now, but otherwise, the hostel space is still quite traditional still. So we looked at the concept, we did our, business plan and calculations, and we saw that the revenue per square meter is extremely interesting. If you can put six beds into the same, square meter of one room, that makes the same ADR of a four-star hotel. So, and the services that you need to provide are much lower. So yeah, we started. Um, I was still working part-time for a broker in Berlin, where you guys actually dove in 100% to start the business.
Yep, it's a decent story, isn't it? Um, in terms of do you have any stats that confirm the concept of Wandery?
I mean, of course, right? Like when you create a pitch, you always look at numbers that support your idea. And we have seen a 57% increase in demand for natural escape. So what we do at Wondery as well is we don't just want to build hostels in main locations. Due to the fact that we have a complete digital guest journey, we're also able to enter remote areas. And 81% of remote areas do not yet have hostels. So that's another stat for you. There's also an enormous increase, I think almost 50% in solo travelers. So people are traveling alone, but they still want to connect to people, right? So we have to create an offer where people can come together. And in something like a hostel, which also has private rooms, you have a common kitchen where you can meet other travelers and you have a very easy access to meet other people, even if you're in a remote location. So that is one. Then, one of the biggies is the increase in operational costs. Operational costs have increased between 20 to 30%. And with the fact that we're digitalizing the whole guest journey, we don't have reception, we don't have revenue management, blah, blah, blah. That really decreases ops cost almost, yeah, 20%, which is extremely interesting when looking at a P&L.
Mm, amazing. Now, so you lead the real estate and growth for Wandery. What do you think has been the biggest challenge in securing locations?
Again, if I'm very, very transparent, I think there are different challenges. I think one is that we started completely bootstrapped, and real estate is quite a cash-heavy industry. So, in order to secure locations, you often need to pay big deposits, or you need to be able to access the expensive, real estate fairs, things like that. And usually, you have to prove a track record if you're just an operator like us. But I think the biggest challenge have been paying deposits or even being able to, pay CapEx contribution or yeah, I think that has been the biggest one. I think in terms of securing that, you were asking about securing location, right? I mean, the other one, how um, growth part of what we're supposed to do or what we wanted to do is raise capital, which also has been quite challenging because I think, yes, we have tech at the heart of what we do, but we're still a hospitality business. I think tech now is not the biggest USP anymore because it's kind of standard as well. You need to use the tech to collect the data and so on and so on. But so we're not, a tech business really, which a lot of investors are really interested in 10x, right? That you can have a multiple and a huge exit. But for us, we still need to secure locations and it's still quite operation heavy, so labor heavy. And many investors are not that interested in slow growing businesses. I mean, it's not slow, it can be very fast, it's extremely scalable, what we do. But that has been challenging for us as well. Further, we're a bit in a debt valley right now, I would say. We have one property which is running, so we're a bit too big for angels, but we're also still a bit too small for VCs. So we kind of need to figure out how to get out of the delta, either grow ourselves, pivot and seeing how we can secure more locations.
Okay. And you said that Wandery targets more remote, nature-rich destinations. Why do you think that niche is still so untapped?
This might be a bit provocative, but it's quite, if you have a great location to run a hotel or a hostel, it isn't that difficult, I would say. Many investors are scared of areas that don't have a natural big demand because you need to be exceptional. People need to come there because of you, or people really need to want to go visit the area. And I think it's much higher risk to go into smaller locations. Also, there's this average that usually you need about 80 beds in order to run a profitable hotel or hostel. But that was when it was not yet digital, when you need a receptionist, when you needed, at least 5 people running your hostel. But I think we're able to enter those locations because we do not have that. We have a complete digital guest journey that decreases our labor cost enormously, and that's why we can go into those locations, where other operators cannot, I would say.
Amazing. Talking about technology, so how do you balance how do you balance automation and authenticity in the hostel experience?
I think a few years back it was very scary that there was not a reception and people were like, oh, will I get in or will I not get into the property and who can I ask if I have a problem? I think that fear for travel has decreased a lot. So, getting a code on your phone and going to the location and entering the code and getting into your room, that's the digital aspect to it. And if you have a problem, you call someone or you text us and you get an answer. So that's kind of, you still have a personalized experience. And we actually make it even more personalized because we have travelers who actually stay at our hostel, that stay with us for 1 or 2 months. And they also create the personal experience, right? So, they create dinners together. I don't know, they go on pub crawls, they do things. So even if you go to a location, a remote one, you won't be alone there. So you actually still have personal experience like what you have in hostels. So that's how we kind of rebalance the tech, makes it, what you can automate, we automate, but we can still keep the human touch with people.
Okay. Now, amazingly, you've managed to secure us one property on a complete bootstrapped budget.
Yes.
It's almost been a year since we've acquired this property in Germany. What are the results and how have you proven the concept?
So what are the results? I think it's absolutely amazing how Misha was able to set up the full complete digital guest journey with the existing tech. We currently have an EBITDA of about 24.6%, we have 0.8 employees for 88 beds, where previous operator had about 12, I think, which honestly is really, really amazing. We have increased our guest reviews. I think it's in a 9.3 now or something. I'm not actually sure. I would need to double check. That's where Daniel is our super specialist about the reviews and everything. And we also have about 43% direct bookings, which is amazing. I think we can still increase that by acquiring more groups. But all these things are really points that show that the concept works, even though we're in a location which has about, 30, 35% occupancy, and we're surpassing that. Yeah, I think having an open hostel that runs with a full digital guest journey is really big achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I remember when we were deciding, we went to Dessau and we found this deal and we were umming and eyeing whether we should take this deal because of the 33% average occupancy in that town. And
Yeah,
it really paid off. I remember what we were saying is, okay, we don't have any money, but we have this deal. It's a very difficult market. It's 33% average occupancy. This is a
35.
perfect test. So if we can make it, if we can beat the average and can still be profitable, then we can go anywhere we want. And it's amazing that how much it's paid off, and we've managed to do what we planned out. So from that, congratulations, we've proven the concept. What's next for Wandery?
Well, we have signed one LOI, so we hope we're gonna, add another location to us. If I'm very, very transparent, I think for me, the past year has been quite challenging on a personal level. So I really hope that we can push the growth even further. I think, I mean, you know it, you started with us. I think starting a business it impacts your life a lot and also your environment. And I think for Wondery, there's no limit. We hope we're still speaking to investors. We're even speaking about like white label solutions. I mean, everything is open, right? I think it's an extremely scalable models. We're speaking about advisory, what we could do. I think the fact that we opened our own property and made it completely digital, I think it could also be enormous value for existing hotel or hostel companies to talk to us about, which system to use, how to implement it, how to automate all of that thing. So I think, there's growth possible in different ways. And sometimes when you're in a startup, you need to figure out, what are the solutions and where can you go from there. So yeah, we have exciting times ahead, that's for sure.
And where are you at in terms of, you're in the bootstrap stage right now. Are you going to continue bootstrapping in order to grow, or are you looking for any kind of financing?
We're currently looking for financing. We are speaking to different investors, but as I have mentioned before, I think we're a bit in a special market, and it's really about finding the right investors, right? For us, the perfect investor would also be a real estate owner that is looking to acquire additional properties with us. We have done project development, so we can actually do the conversions, or we can do, the refurbishments. That's actually something we can do ourselves. So, and we've proven it while working at NUMA. I think, how many hotels did we open? 60.
About 30.
30. I saw 65, but we opened about 30.
Oh,
Yes.
yes,
So
sorry, I stand corrected. Yeah, if it's everyone combined with you and Nish and myself, then it's about 60 something, yeah.
no, I mean, I think I visited 65, and then you guys kind of opened the 30, I think. I mean, right, like, so I think we're an extremely skilled team, which is like super exciting to work um as a team like that. And we would love to find, yeah, an investor that wants to grow with us, with our strategy, with, digitalizing properties. That's really what we're looking for. I think we're quite, yeah, open for that. Maybe there's also, I don't know, a tech company that would like to develop ideas, or right, like I mean, or a PMS system that we've spoken to as well that could be interesting in acquiring us, that we can do tests. And I mean, I think there is no limits to what partner could be interesting for us. Yeah.
So we'll say that you're open-minded.
Extremely open-minded. But a lot of it is also chemistry. I think, it's not just about the contribution that we would be getting. It's also about how we work together. Do we have similar visions? We would like to build long term and not just, build and exit. I think for us, it's really the challenge to build it as well. So.
Amazing. Okay, so if I'm an investor or a landlord, how do I get in touch with you?
You write me on LinkedIn, or you write me an email, or you write over Wandery. But the
No
best would be
problem.
on LinkedIn, I think.
Okay, I'll make sure I put your name in there. I'll put your link.
LinkedIn, yeah.
Miriam, thank you so much. I have one last closing question that I'm going to start asking on every episode is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Such a tough one. It really is. Um, somebody once told me that it's more important that a task is interesting than whether you like to do it or not. And actually, I think often I want to do things that are fun, but then I have that in my mind, which is like, it's more important that it's interesting and you learn something, than that you just love doing it. The best if you have both, but I think that comes a lot to mind. I think, curiosity and interest in what you do is at least as important as fun, which is a bit counterintuitive, but I still love it.
Mirjam Neuenschwander, thank you very much. Guys, that's it for today's episode of Hospitality and Tech with Ed. Big thanks to Mirjam for sharing her journey at Wandery and its exciting mission. If you enjoyed this, follow for more stories from people shaping the future of hospitality. Until next time.